the Europe to say.
E boas tardes. Hoje vamos ter live connosco Isaac Melander, o embaixador global da Naked Grouse, um gin muito famoso, e como nosso anfitrião vai estar também Nino Lopes, que será o anfitrião desta noite, e o nosso convidado Isaac Melander.
Isaac, olá, tudo bem?
And bye, see you. The stage is yours, okay? Bye.
Thank you, Hugo. Thank you.
Então boa tarde a todos. Aqui estamos nós com o Isaac Melander, como disse ele, o Global Ambassador da Naked Grouse. E pronto, ele vem aqui hoje praticamente falar do produto, como é que o produto é feito, histórias sobre a indústria e comparações, porque é uma marca, é um produto que é comparado muito com o Famous Grouse. A única coisa que eles têm em comum é a companhia ser a mesma, mas o produto em si é completamente diferente. Isaac, so nice to see you again.
I see you, man.
I was just informing our guests that you know, the comparison between the Famous Grouse and the Naked Grouse, the only thing is pretty much the company that owns them, because the product is completely different.
Exactly.
So I'll leave it to you. If you could explain us, you know, first of all, the differences between the two of them, and then again focus on your products and how it's made and why is it different from the malts.
All right. So I think we have to start with categorizing Scotch whiskey in general. So Scotch whiskey is 5 different categories. You can do single grain whiskey, you can do blended grain whiskey, you can do blended Scotch, you can do blended malt, and you can do single malt. The 5 different categories, where Famous Grouse then is a blended Scotch. A blended Scotch is a Scotch made of both grain and malt whiskey. Basically, you take grain whiskey, you take malt whiskey, and you pour them together, and you will have a blended Scotch. When it comes to naked malt or naked grouse, you only use single malt whiskies. So you take different kind of single malt whiskies, you pour them together, and what we do is that we put them those whiskies into one blend. That blend goes into what we call naked sherry casks. So that's sherry casks, the first filled sherry casks. So sherry casks that only been sherry wine in before the whiskey goes in,
and nothing else. Okay, so I'm gonna just pause you there just for a second. E então a maior parte desta entrevista ou desta classe vai ser feita em inglês. Se algum dos nossos guests aqui no Instagram tiver alguma pergunta ou dificuldade com o inglês, estejam à vontade, mandem aqui uma mensagem e nós resumimos, ok? So, so Isaac, I was just mentioning to the guys, I don't know if all of them can understand English, but the ones that don't, they can always drop us a message and then I'll go back to you. But it seems like everyone is in tune. So, now that you've sort of categorized the whiskies, let's go to Naked.
So let's go to Naked. Once again, I mean, our story is not very long. Naked is quite a young brand. We started in 2011, basically being an extension of Famous Grouse, because back then we were a blended Scotch. So as I mentioned before, grain whiskey, single malt whiskey together becomes blended Scotch. And what we did then with the liquid was that we put it onto cherry casks and we called it Naked naked grouse. But then things happen in the Nordics. Many things happen in the Nordics. But we got because in the Nordics, where I live in Sweden, we have a monopoly market. So basically, the government is the only one allowed to sell booze, and they have a very, very good system when it comes to what products can be sold in the monopolies. So what they basically.
So Isaac, sorry to stop you there. When you say it's a good system, because as you know, Portugal is one of those traditional countries where that doesn't happen. If you own a brand, you want to get the brand into Portugal, all you need to do is make a deal with a distributor, and that's pretty much it. Mm-hmm. So how does your country goes through product selection? How do they, because it must be something interesting for us to know, because if I wanted to get my product in your country, what would be the steps to convincing your country, your government, because they control all the booze that goes in there?
It's a very difficult to explain this, but I'm going to try to explain it very short. So basically, in the bars, you can sell whatever you want, or not whatever you want, but any type of product can be sold there. But to be sold on the monopolies, it goes sort of through the same system. So they have a limited amount of spots for each category. So for the whiskey category, it would be it is already categorized in different. So let's say American, the other world, malts over 18 years old, malts under 18 years old, and so on. So many different categories, and each category has a certain amount of spots. And this is a ranking system. So the ones that sells the most will stay there, and the ones that doesn't sell, they will go out.
Oh, okay.
To get one spot, what they do is that they send out to all distributors in the country, saying that we are looking for a blended malt in this price range. Do you have anything? And then all the distributors get to send in a sample of if they have a blended malt in this price range. They will then do a blind test, and the ones that win the blind test will get the spot. It also, of course, comes with some, like, you have to be able to produce or
supply a certain number.
You need to have liquid,
exactly.
so you can support all the stores.
So if you're a small producer, your chances of getting into the market is going to be slim compared with a bigger producer, because maybe a smaller producer cannot reach the volumes that your country needs.
Yeah, it depends how much you can produce. I mean, you need to be able to produce for, in the end, all stores, and I don't remember the exact number, but it's above 200 stores. So you need to be able to provide that, but it's not really. Depends on what category and so on. Like Famous Grouse sells, I think, 1.4 million bottles from the monopoly each year. So that's a lot. Naked Grouse does not sell as much, but we sell quite a bit. So it's not more difficult for a small producer than for a big producer. That's why I'm saying it's a good system, because it's a very fair system. If you have a good product, you will win over the other products. If it's a good product and you do good marketing, people will buy it, and then you will stay on the shelves.
What about the price range? Does that matter as well? Do you need to be very competitive with the price?
Well, because it's government owned, they're not really allowed to make any money. So we sort of decide what price it goes in on, and there it stays. So they will not add anything extra. They cannot do campaigns like buy 3 get 1 for free or stuff like this. And there's no Christmas sales.
Baker's doesn't or anything like that.
No, so it's a very fair system in that sense, which is so I like it because I think it's fair. It's the ones that do the best job, the ones that has the best liquid and does the best marketing. They will be there and they will stay there.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for clarifying that. And sorry that that we shift
No, but
from the production.
It's sort of explained actually what happened for us then, because what happened in Sweden that this monopoly were asking for a blended malt in a certain price range. So we went back to Scotland and asked, do we have anything? Because this is a great opportunity. And they say, what about the naked grouse we have? Can we send that as a blended malt? And we say, yeah. And we won. We won this position at the monopoly. So we started doing blended malt whiskey, naked grouse blended malt whiskey for Sweden only.
Mm-hmm.
And what we did then over here is that we put our focus into the bars. Because when we got that product, the blended malt version, we saw that this will make a fantastic cocktail base. So we started to show it to bars, let them play with it, let them create from it, and it became very popular in the restaurants and bars as well. And what then happened is that the global team saw this potential that we sort of created, and decided to make it to a blended malt on a global level in 2017. Okay. So from 2017, it's been the same liquid all over the world.
So which is your strongest market? Is it Sweden?
No. Nordics in general is one of our stronger markets, but Taiwan is by far our absolute strongest market.
Wow.
I think Taiwan stands for, give or take, 50% of the total volume of naked grouse in the world.
Global. That's a lot.
Global, yeah.
Why do you think that is? Is it because just the tasting patterns that they have over there that fit with your product?
One of the reasons for sure. We have also had a great team in Taiwan that's done a great job with the product. But also the whiskey culture, I would say, of Taiwan. They drink a lot of whiskey. Naked is still a very small brand in Taiwan, even though they sell a lot. So it's I would say it's the whiskey culture, and also of course like the great team we've had in Taiwan that has created this.
That's super. That's really good. It's really good. So again, going back to focusing on your product, you were saying that's how through the market and through the picking and the selection that your government does, that's how the product came about.
Yes.
And that's how you sort of infiltrated in Sweden through bars and restaurants and in creating a cocktail culture, which is because amazing.
That's also good to know, like for Sweden and most part of the Nordics, apart from Denmark, we are a black market, so you can't really do any advertising for alcohol in general. It's very, very difficult. So pretty much the only way to do it is through the bars.
Okay.
They can
word of mouth.
Yeah, exactly. Word of mouth. So that's like sort of the shopping window, so to say, that we have is the bars. They can show our products, they can talk about our products, because we cannot go to the monopolies and train them.
Okay.
Because
you can't go to the bars and do.
Bars you can go to as much as you want, but
you
not
can't go to supermarkets and.
No. The monopoly stores you cannot do any education on. Apart from Finland, you can do some, but so it's very restricted in that sense. And when it comes to marketing, it's hardly nothing. It's really, really difficult to do it, which again gives us the pleasure of being able to work a lot and close with the bars, because they will be our advertisers.
What about Portugal? Have you had a chance to come to Portugal?
I have. I've been lucky enough to go there twice. Twice for work. First time we came with Ruby from Copenhagen. We did a shift at Red Frog, because those two bars were part of a program that we called Bar Swap.
Okay.
That we started in 2017. and this was 2018, so that was the second year. So we went with the guys from Ruby to Lisbon to do a shift and a seminar there, and then the guys from Red Frog came to Denmark to do a seminar and a shift. So that's the first time, and then I've been I went to Lisbon Bar Show in 2019. It must have been then, to just enjoy the beautiful show the guys put off there. I think it's really one of the good shows around Europe. And then I got to do a guest shift on my own at Red Frog as well.
Okay.
So I've been only Lisbon so far. I hope to see more of Portugal in the future, but so far it's been
so
quite
hopefully some of the guys that are watching, they can recommend some bars for them to go, and more bars in Lisbon, more bars in the south, more bars up north.
I really hope so. And then we had Nelson from Porto was taking part of the third year. We did the swap, so we did a gathering for bartenders in Edinburgh in 2019. So Nelson was there with the stand.
Whereabouts in Edinburgh?
All over. We did a takeover of the whole city. It felt like, but the I think the main event was we did a massive takeover at Bramble.
Jason's place. Jason Scott's place. Jason, I love Jason.
Yeah, so we took over that for a night where the guys. So we had 23 bartenders from I think 18 different countries that had half an hour each behind the bar for a night. So for me on the other side that tried all the drinks, it was a very good night. Very good night.
And Bramble is a great place to go.
It's a great place to go for
small,
sure.
It's small, but it's good.
I have to say though, the Panda and Sons is probably nothing bad against Bramble, but Panda and Sons would be my favorite spot.
I tell you what, I completely forgot about Panda and Sons just because I only been to Edinburgh a handful of times, and it was maybe my last 2 times in Edinburgh that I managed. Panda opened, so I went to Panda and Sons. So it was pretty cool as well. A bit bigger, you got more space, a bigger bar.
For sure.
It's different. It's a bit different.
Yeah, I'm also very curious on Ian's new technique, this switching technique that he's working on, which I find very fascinating. I'm very interested in it, and I would love to try it at some point when Mr. COVID let us travel. I really hope to be able to go there and try it.
And hopefully it will spread around the world, not just via social media, but getting people to learn as well. And
I hope so, because it's a very interesting concept. So I'm curious to see how it works and what flavors you can actually create from it. Looking forward to that. See more of that.
So, in terms of your time with Naked Grouse, everything started in 2017 as well?
No, not really. Well, it started. I would say it started already in 2011 when I first met a person called Jonathan. Jonathan worked as a brand ambassador for Maker's Mark. Maker's Mark is one of the products that we at Edrington do the distribution for here in the Nordics. So Jonathan came to my bar, and he was a very fun person, and I laughed a lot with him that summer. So he introduced me to the company, and then when I moved to Stockholm in 2012, I started doing some events for Edrington with all kinds of different brands. Like we used to have Cointreau back then, and Galliano. We still have Galliano, and then many other brands. So I met a guy called Peter. So we started our own event company, sort of, and started doing events for Edrington at the same time that we were running a bar each, and it was a lot of work back then, but it's good fun. Edrington then realized that this is very expensive to pay these guys every time. Let's just hire them. So they hired Peter in 2015. And then it became an opening for an ambassador for Naked in 2016, and then they called me and asked if I wanted to do it. So I started working for Edrington full time in 2016.
Super.
So
That's
it's
really
5 years now.
Yeah.
Time flies.
Oh, time flies. So yeah, jumping, we are constantly jumping because it makes things more interesting.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
going back now again, focusing on the product. Can you tell us a bit more into detail? We know which casks you used at least once cherry casks.
Mm-hmm.
And then where the product is made, how, is it in Scotland? You've mentioned that before. Which distillery is it? Can you tell us that?
Sort of. I can sort of tell you. No, but as I mentioned, it's blended malt, so that means that we buy different kind of single malts from different distilleries. So we don't have one distillery. We use more than one. We mainly take the malts from distilleries that we own ourselves. So that includes Macallan, Highland Park, and Glenrothes.
Okay.
So basically, we buy malts from these different distilleries. We put them together. We make the blend of these fantastic single malts. We make a fantastic blend. We taste that. We think it's perfect. Then we pour it into these first filled sherry casks, and we leave it there for an extra 6 months to get that last flavor that we're looking for.
Okay. So the blend is done previous.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's really good. And then what? After 6 months, you're just bottling and shipping.
Pretty much it. Pretty much.
And in terms of advising the young bartenders how to use the product, you've mentioned that the idea was to make a good base of a cocktail.
Not really. I think that's not the intention of the product. The intention of the product was to create a fantastic whiskey. What we saw when we first tried it was that it was perfect for mixing as well. So Naked, for those who have tried it or will try it, it is a fantastic whiskey to drink neat. The beauty of it is, thanks to the sherry casks, is also a very, very mixable product, and you can mix it with pretty much anything you like. From our side, on a brand level, we decided to go on the sour lane, so to speak. So we focus on that. So we make loads of different versions of whiskey sours, or naked sours that we call them then. But for a young bartender, I think you always need to learn the basics.
Exactly.
But when it comes to classic cocktails, then, which I also always recommend young bartenders to learn first, because then you will understand the whole balance of a cocktail, how you have to think when you create a new cocktail.
It's like a young chef. It's like a young chef, right?
You need to learn the classics. But with that said, if you look at Scotch whiskey classics, you will find Bobby Burns, you will find Rusty Nail, you will find Rob Roy, drinks like this, and those are mainly spirit-driven cocktails, I would say. So maybe when it comes to Naked, you should also look at it to play with it in different categories, because it works very well in as I mentioned. Yeah, for sure, man. But also like in highballs, or pretty much anything, I would say, works with. So to play with it, and it's also something that I tend to talk to young bartenders about, is if you have a classic that you really, really, really like, say you are a massive fan of espresso martinis, because I'm a big fan of espresso martinis. I think it's a great drink.
It's a great drink. It's a fantastic drink.
Yeah, it is. But what happens if you take away the vodka and you replace that with a tequila?
Completely different experience.
Yeah, but you still have a great drink, because the basics were there from the beginning. So that's what I like to show with Naked is, okay, what happens if you put this into this drink or that drink and play with it and see, because the flavors from from the sherry cask gives such a variety of flavors that you can play with.
Okay. Let me ask the guys if you've got any questions. Se houver alguém aí que tenha algumas perguntas, façam favor de perguntar. Se não perceberam alguma coisa também, façam favor de deixar aqui o comentário e nós continuamos, ok? Obrigado. So, and continuing with the classics and stuff, which one, give us like your top 5 classics.
Oh, good question. Well,
actually, let's do this.
Okay.
Young bartender, you, Isaac, young starting bartender. Okay, so Bernardo asked a question and I lost it. It has to be. Okay, so I've got a question from Diogo Bernardo. He's asking, does he have to be at least 6 months or can it be more or less?
Okay. I think like start this way. To be able to call it a Scotch whiskey, it needs to be a minimum of 3 years in oak barrels, oak cask.
But they've been in oak barrels before the blending, correct?
Yes. So the age of the whiskies that goes into the blend is varies. I can't tell you because I actually don't know. Diane Stewart, who's our master blender, she's the only person that knows this. What I mean with the 6 months is that's what happens when we have made the blend. Then we pour it into say an extra maturation in those sherry casks for a minimum of 6 months. If it's not ready in 6 months, we leave it there for some extra time.
A bit longer. Okay. But the average is 6 months. And
in the first fill sherry cask, yes.
Yeah.
But the age on the whiskey itself is of course much older.
So you know, it's simple. It's simple because if the whiskey is already as a single cask has already been aged for that minimum period, and then when you blend it and you join it together and you put it inside a cherry cask, that's just extra time that you're going to add to it and change the flavors to the brand. Okay.
Exactly.
So going back to the question, so I need to know, and I need you to tell these guys here. Okay, we've got another question. What is the most evident cereal in your whiskey? So eventually, what Carlos Joy is trying to ask, what is the most predominant cereal in your whiskey? Do you know?
It's only barley. It's the same as single malts. So it's only barley.
Barley, yeah. Okay.
Same as all single malts.
All single malts.
Same grain for.
Because it's a single malt, so it has to be. Before we get another question, so your favorite 5 cocktails when you started as a bartender, and your favorite 5 cocktails now, okay? As a let's say I don't know what you want to call it. I'm not going to call you an old bartender. I'm going to calling you old is calling me old.
No.
So as an experienced bartender.
Yes. Okay. I get your question. So when I started, I would say I'm still very much of a sweet tooth, but I do remember espresso martinis was one of my first love for sure. I did love mojitos. I remember making them and just wanting to drink them by myself because I liked it. But so those two for sure. French martini. I loved French martinis, man. It's proper London drink, I would say, but with shampoo and pineapple, it was great. I did love that. I found Negroni. I found Negroni very early on. I really always is going to be on the other list as well. Negroni is for sure.
Yeah, Negroni is one of those things that you love it or hate it.
Simple. And for me, it was love from the beginning. But I found it a bit later on. But I did really love it from the beginning. And I drank a lot of rum and cokes, man. When I was young.
We don't count rum and cokes. Man. We can't count Cuba Libres. They shouldn't be a cocktail.
Okay.
But
no. Let's not. Okay, so fifth one that I drank. I did really like Brambles when I was young. Man. I drank a lot of Brambles.
Okay.
I did. So you see, sweeter, soury drink, sort of. Nowadays,
and nowadays,
5. I do love my Negronis still. That hasn't changed. I think Old Fashioned has climbed up there, but I'm not sure it reaches top 5. I do love a Red Hook. That's probably one of the best drinks in the world. Vieux Carré, I think, is one amazing drink. What else do I really enjoy drinking? A Paloma is
Paloma. Oh yeah, it's so nice. Nice. The problem is some countries you can't get the thing. You know, it's just it's very. I don't know if you get it in Sweden. In Portugal, we don't really. I've never seen it in Portugal. In UK, yes, we see it in UK all the time. It's just like it's like Coca-Cola, you know. And so
we can get it. Some people some can get it. It's not a big thing, not at all. But it just exists. I know I have a friend called Björn Kjellberg. He always explained that it needs to be ting, otherwise it's not. Because
things got that flavor, you know, the characteristic flavor. So it's like it's another discussion, isn't it? It's another topic for discussion. It's like making a dark and stormy, you know, with different types of ginger beer. So it's very interesting. So that's super interesting. And then if you wanted to tell the guys, because I remember last time we spoke, you showed us like cocktails that you promote. Can you do that?
Yeah. Let's see if we can. I can probably share screen, and let's go. Okay. Now for the Instagram followers here, it's gonna be a bit more. Can anyone see my screen? Can someone just let me know if
I can see you both, and I can see you on Instagram and in here. So I'll tell you. Okay.
Yeah. So and there's welcome. This is my presentation, by the way.
There you go. I'll turn it and I'll put it like that in the Instagram.
Nice. So I think we can go. I can do. Why aren't you working with? Okay, let's put it like this so we can see it properly. Okay. So this is something that I always like to talk about when I talk about cocktails is to make your menu count. This is our chance that the chefs maybe doesn't really have. Is that we have the creative freedom in our menus. We can do pretty much whatever we want and present it in a fantastic way. So this is just some examples that I've loved seeing around the world. You have the Dreams and Desires from Tipling Club in Singapore. It's the one in the bottom there is from Him Cook. It's a tour around Norway. Fantastic menu as well. The artisan menu they had a couple of years ago is on the right. I think this is just to show that menus is something that is important. This is how we show our creativity to our guests. I think this is just something lovely to work with. Twisted Classics we spoke about, and this is something for that we from a brand side has played with, of course, together with I know you know these guys, Barry Wilson and and Jamie,
Mr. Hobbit.
Yes, Mr. Hobbit. These
Cocktail
guys,
Hobbit.
Cocktail Hobbit. Following on Instagram is very good. But these guys have been part of creating these drinks, and as you can see, this is quite easy takes on classics. So Dark and Stormy, obviously Dark and Stormy. Just put the whiskey instead of the rum, pretty much. Lemon instead of lime. Some honey syrup just for some balance here. And fresh ginger juice, of course. So we create our own ginger beer. That's what happens, really.
Well, hold on, we've got a question here. What is your opinion, the perfect serve for whiskey, before we continue, before we get lost? What is, in your opinion, the perfect serve, the whiskey perfect serve?
The perfect whiskey serve depends a lot on what kind of whiskey.
Let's go for naked. Let's go for naked in your situation.
For naked, I think for me it's the device. It's different depending on occasion. I love to drink it on its own. I love it in a sour, and I also drink a lot of scotch and sodas. So if I can name three, I would do that. I would do neat or on the rocks. In a sour with the fruit. I love it to put some orange juice in my whiskey sour with naked. I think that works perfect. And in a whiskey soda, if you're in a busy nightclub or you're in a super warm summer day, I really enjoy a whiskey soda.
So it really depends on a person and where they are, and
Yeah.
it's personal in a way. It's no longer
sure.
what it used to be 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years ago, where
No.
Where the whiskey had to be served straight on rocks.
Exactly.
It's no longer like that. It's more about a personal. We know so much more now than they did back then.
For sure, and I think, and also like you always have to think about where you are and what's the occasion. I mean, a lovely day in Portugal, mid-July, an old fashioned is going to be quite heavy for you. That's just the way it is. At the same time, in Sweden, a cold night in December, a pina colada is not the best drink to have. Or pina colada is always a good drink to have. but you get my idea. Like the occasion sort of decides to serve.
It's personal.
And for naked, we have the beauty that we can be served in many different ways.
Okay, so that's the answer for Tiago, Filipe, Tomas. So going back, let's go back to the cocktails. So berry sour. Yeah, this one is a twist on what? On pretty much a sour.
Yeah, exactly.
Aquafaba, chickpeas, right. So this one is pretty much homemade, I would say.
Yeah, I mean it's super easy to
open a can.
that's a whiskey sour. Instead of egg white, we use aquafaba. Instead of lemon, we use supasava, and instead of simple syrup, we do agave syrup. I mean, it's a very simple but taste-wise very different drink.
So you know what I was talking about agave syrup, one of my all-time favorites. Every time, anywhere, every month of the year, a nice Tommy, a nice Tommy's, has to be done.
It has to be there. It should have
Portugal, been. Every time I go to Portugal, I struggle to get a Tommy's. Honestly, but guys, if you're listening, Tommy's
for sure.
Honestly, you can't get it wrong.
No. It's even working with whiskeys now. Tommy's is great drink. And then you have the middle one, just to finish this slide. It's New York sour, obviously. New York sour. But what we worked with here is to do a strawberry syrup and some black pepper. I mean, it's quite straightforward, but we played with the syrup here. But as you can see, for all three of these, they are based on classic cocktails that we have tweaked and played with. And this is something I think everyone can do for their menus. You don't have to invent the wheel. Just find, as maybe we did, do what's your five favorite cocktails, and then do twists on them. So
give it a try. Are you looking to do any competitions soon, even if it's like online competitions? Because I think that's the new trend is definitely that now. Hold on, we've got another question. Isaac, seen that a blend Scotch. Okay, so Carlos Joy is asking if you pay to get the whiskey, seeing that you've got a blended Scotch. I can answer that because the whiskies, the whiskies that you get to do the blends are already your distilleries, right? They're owned by the same company. Was that correct?
Yeah.
Ok.
Mostly.
Ok. Carlos, então é assim, respondendo à tua pergunta, praticamente os whiskies que são utilizados, ou a maioria dos whiskies que são utilizados para o blend, se fazem parte da mesma companhia. Deve haver ali acho que foi que ele disse que o Isaac disse que não fazia parte. Esse deve ser o único que se paga, o resto faz tudo parte da mesma companhia, ok? Tá, obrigado. So, yeah, competitions, cocktail competitions.
Yes.
Are you looking to do something online soon, promoting, getting new ideas, see what the guys have been doing at home with lockdown, see their creative minds? Tell us about it.
For sure. We are, as we speak, I don't know how much I can talk about this right now, but we are looking into this after summer.
Okay.
You will probably see it. I can talk about this. It doesn't matter. What we are looking into is, as I mentioned to you, we did do something we call the bar swap a few years ago, and this is something we really enjoyed and that we would like to continue with. We will, though, continue with it in a slight different form. So what we will do this year, because of the pandemic that is going on, we do know that we will not be able to travel in the same extent as we used to be. So what we will do is create local competitions in different markets. We will see if we will do it in Portugal. We are looking into the possibilities of doing it in Portugal at least. But for the 6 key markets for us that we have decided on, which is the Nordics, UK, US, Australia, Taiwan, and Russia. For them, they will do a local competition between bars, and the winner of the competition will go on the swap the following year. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So pretty much you need to win, and then next year the winner will go and do the swap.
Exactly. Yeah. And cool. That year, when you do your swap, so say the winner of Taiwan will do a swap with US, let's say. The winners from Taiwan will be in the jury for the competition in 2023 in US.
That's great, so because that's great because what some bartenders maybe don't understand is the logistic behind it, and trying to send someone from Taiwan to the US, taking care of visas, taking care of all sorts of things. That's a hassle that could go wrong sometimes.
There's a lot of work behind the scenes for sure.
yeah, and that's brilliant. That's a brilliant idea, and get these people because they are so far away from different corners of the world: US, Australia, Taiwan, UK. That's brilliant. Really good. I'm looking forward to hear that.
I mean, it will be reality. I mean, the competitions will be in the end of the year, probably. I hope so. It's a bit of, as you say, it's a lot of logistics to make this happen, but we really look forward to it. And I mean, the competition, online competitions that are going on around the world, I think it's amazing what people can create from such a difficult task that it is to arrange a cocktail competition online. I mean, I've been following the Tio Pepe challenge. I don't know if you've seen it.
No, I haven't actually. No, tell me what's going on with those guys.
No, it's the genius Boris Ivan, which is the sherry ambassador of the world. Follow him on Instagram.
Self-proclaimed.
No, Boris is a fantastic person. But what they've done is that they do heats. So say it starts with like the quarterfinals, and the quarterfinal is between the bartender from Norway and the bartender from Portugal, and then they go head to head. They do a presentation, and then you sort of vote online for them, and the guy that gets the most votes move on to the next round. And
with a presentation only, just a presentation.
The presentation and the an image of the drink. So you sort of get votes through comments on the photo and stuff. It's really it's a lot of work from the
social media focused.
Yes,
and trends. Okay, got it.
And I mean, you can say whatever you want about it, because I guess it's in the end it's a popularity contest, but
each one's their own, right? Each one's their own.
Yeah, man, exactly. And I mean, sometimes I mean we are in the situation we are in the world, and I mean we miss this. We miss competing. We miss meeting each other. We miss the whole industry that we fell in love with, because it's not the same at the moment. I mean, many countries are still in lockdown. Other countries are slowly opening up, and but still very restricted. And I mean, we miss this. And if Boris Ivan can create something online that people watch and sort of for a small second can feel like it used to be, I mean.
And they can participate as well, right?
Yeah, so they can participate. That's the hats off. I mean,
I've been following of course, the world class as always.
Yes, I've seen a bit of it as well. I think it's. I mean, they have their adventure in front of them. I mean, doing the local competition is one thing, but when they will pull the global final together, that's going to be very interesting to see how they manage to do that. I guess they still believe and hope that they can do the final in Madrid, but who knows?
Listen, if someone can pull it off, if someone has got the money to pull it off, it's them. If someone's got the money to pull it off, it's them.
For sure, but I guess the problem is the money doesn't help this time. If you're not allowed to travel, you're not allowed to travel.
Yeah.
But as you say, they can probably pull off a really cool online competition then. So I'm looking forward to see where it ends. I'm a big fan of World Class. It's a great competition.
It is fantastic, and he did so much for us. It's probably the first competition that has, goes to TV now, and it's on TV and stuff. I think we still are very far away from chefs.
Absolutely.
From chefs. Unfortunately, we have to be realistic. Chefs don't work with alcohol. We do. And when you work with a poison, because alcohol is a poison, if you consume too much of it, that's why you throw up, is your body just trying to get release of it. And it's just tricky. And I would love to see more programs online about spirits.
Absolutely.
And they tend to be, I don't know about you, they tend to be all the same, in my opinion. Either someone traveling, doing this and this and that, but when they travel, they don't really go to the places where I would love them to go. For example, I would love to see more distillery in Barbados than beach in Barbados, when they travel. I would like to see more chats with the local workers in the distillery, master distillers, so people and young people can understand how the product is actually made, and the idea from the product to the bottle, that type of thing. So hopefully one day.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking that it's always going to be difficult to show distilleries because there are so many secrets kept there. So you don't really. I mean, you've been to distilleries, you know how they make you take away your phone and turn your phone off because it will explode. No, it's not going to explode, but you are not allowed to take photos. That's
to take photos. Yeah. I think with good planning, and we don't need to see everything.
No.
But the secret is important as well. But it's just
and I also believe, I strongly believe that we will get more and more attention because we are seen as a serious profession nowadays compared to. I mean, both you and me know when we started bartending, it was the main question to you was, what will you do when you grow up then?
Yeah, true.
So I mean, the seriousness of it, which and especially how people look at our industry has changed a lot in the last few years.
Yeah, let's just go back to for example, people like I think I always talk about those guys. I think you probably know them as well. I call them the dinosaurs. You know, the Salvatore Calabresis, the Peter Dorellis,
For sure.
and the Dave Brooms and the Ian Burrells, and the list, the Tony Conigliaros, and the list goes on and on and on and on. Those guys, they made a career from bartending. They managed to be successful without having to work behind the bar late hours like you do when you were young. So it's all about building your career. It's all about making a career.
For sure, and I mean, we see the examples. The next generation that has really made. They are proper businessmen today, like Simone Caporale and Alex Catena, and Nikos Pakoulis. These guys, they are businessmen. And,
Ryan Chiwanga, Ryan,
absolutely great example. Leo Robicek, all of these guys, they're on a different level, and those guys inspire. I think they inspire the young bartenders to think a bit differently nowadays. I think also the big question that has come in is to take care of yourself. We see,
mafia bartenders.
To be able to stand behind a bar for 12-hour shift or 6 days a week, you need to look after your body. Otherwise, you will die in a short time. So you see, like Mo Al Jaff or Nico de Soto, and these guys, they work out 6 days a week because they know they need to take care of themselves. Otherwise, they won't be able to perform. And I think this is something that is still very, very young to bartenders' knowledge. But I will tell you now. Listen very carefully. Take care, because if you take care of your body, your head will work better. You will do a better job. You will be more creative. You will be able to work harder, longer. So look after yourself and look after your
and create a better image, because when you have a few drinks behind the bar, sometimes things can go wrong.
Absolutely. And also, sorry.
No, you go. You were saying.
No, I was just saying that because well-being is something that we very recently start talking about, and the mental health of the bar industry. Because when we started working, it was super cool to work 14 hours a day for 28 days in a row. That was like, then you were the king.
Yeah.
But that's not good for your mental health. So I think, and this is a subject that has been brought up more and more.
The drinking, the heavy drinking. Okay, exactly. I know we work with alcohol, and it's necessary to try and to drink to get to know the product. But and we've been through this. And we're probably talking like two old men, but we're not, probably not 30s. The truth is, you are not able to create a career if you think the ideal bartender is one that does those things that you just said and gets smashed every minute that he's got free in his life. Isaac, before, we've got a few minutes before we finish. I just want to finish with one of the main topics in Portugal at the moment. I think probably in Sweden, when I was last time in Sweden, 2018, it was a topic that was talked a lot already in UK as well, maybe the last almost 10 years, which is sustainability. Okay. So that's a word that in Portugal, they are talking a lot, sustainability. But the truth is, when I speak with fellow colleagues from Portugal, they have no idea about what sustainability actually involves in the bar industry. So me and you, let's finish with this topic so we can shine some light, hopefully, to the ones who don't know. The ones who do know, I hope they participate. With things, with topics as well. So give us examples of sustainability that a bartender could do today, or examples of sustainability that are present in Sweden at the moment. Can you help us with that?
For sure. This is a subject that is very important. the planet we live on is not feeling very well at the moment. I think everyone knows that.
Mhm.
And I think an important thing to remember is that every little helps. Sometimes it feels like, okay, if I throw this plastic straw here, what difference does it make? And I mean, no, maybe not, but every little helps, and I think that's what the bar industry is not the devil in this, of course not, but we are a part of it, and what we can do to help will affect and will help in the end. So I mean, we buy so much stuff that we just throw away. I think that's something everyone can start with. Okay, look over how much do we actually throw away each night of the service, and the things we throw away, what can we do with them instead? I think the easiest would be to say, okay, limes and lemons, we throw away tons every year. What can we do with it instead? Can we do something else with it? Can we use them for garnish? Can we, dry them, use them as garnish? Can we throw them into a simple syrup and make a citrus cordial? Can we do, I mean, all of these things? Just ask yourself, what can we do before I throw this away? Could I do something more with it before we actually throw it away? I think that's the key, one key thing that everyone can go to their bar and think of. I think also, I mean, plastic is a big problem. Can we reduce it?
See, one of the things in common, I don't know in Sweden, but in Portugal, one of the things common is, for example, in UK, we just we pick the straw and we put it in the glass. Of course, eventually we are constantly, you're constantly with your hands wet from washing. And doing, it's just the ethic that it is. In Portugal, the majority of the places, the straws come in wrapped in, it's plastic straw wrapped in a plastic bag, and then they have to take the bag and put it on. It's just, time consuming, and every time I see a bartender doing it, I know the logic behind it. I know the logic. It's health and safety and hygiene.
Yeah.
But man, my hairs are just like, if you work in a volume bar, and you have to pay a bar back to do that as a mise en place, as a prep, take all the stuff, plastic. It's a pain in the ass, and the amount of plastic is just astronomical. Do you guys have the same thing in Sweden?
Yeah, it's the straws has been a very, very strong subject for many years, but I think stuff. I mean, they listen to us. I mean, we have seen a lot of bars stop using straws at all. If they do, they have stainless steel straws that can be washed and used again. We have the main supplier of straws. They have now started selling like eco straws. So basically they are recyclable.
Paper straws.
Which is great.
Probably the ones from Aqaba. Probably they are the most popular ones.
Probably. I mean, so I think we're doing, but that's one thing. But I mean, throw away stuff in the right department. I mean, throw glasses with glasses, throw plastic with plastic, and throw paper with paper. If you throw that, like if you try to sort of sort your garbage, the garbage man will have an easier job when they then do the recycle. I mean, we have a very advanced system here, so you really have to put everything in the right bin, otherwise you get killed.
Do you get fines? Do you get fines as well?
No, but they won't take it. So if they get a bag with mixed things, they won't take it, and then you have to sort it, and then they will take it. So it's a big of a hassle. So if you just do it the correct way from the start, you don't have to redo it. And I don't like to redo things.
It's a waste of time.
But also, I mean, from a brand perspective, we will move over to 100% recyclable bottle, which is something we are proud of. I mean, I'm not saying we do. I don't think we do enough. I think we can do more. but it's a step in the right direction. So everything on the bottle will be recyclable. I think that's something. And just, I mean, sustainability is for our kids and our grandkids, so they will have a nice planet to live on. We, at the pace we are doing it now, our grandkids will not have a super nice planet to live on. And I think it's something that we all have to contribute to as much as we can. I mean, nowadays you're not allowed to take the subway, but I mean, then walk instead of taking your car. I mean, there are solutions to. In lovely Portugal, I mean, it's summer all year round. You can, and it's a lot of hills. But I mean, we are born with most of us are born with two a pair of really good legs. Use them.
Yeah.
And throw things where they're supposed to be thrown. Not in the ocean is not a good place to go throw things.
Everything will end up in the ocean if you don't do so, and that's the problem.
Yeah, so I think that there's so much we can do, but it's a long way, and it takes everyone needs to do their bit. If everyone does their part, we have come a long way.
Yeah. Well, Isaac, our time is done for today, man.
That's a quick hour, man.
That's a quick hour. I know you got stuff to do, but I know if you didn't have to, we could stay here for hours.
Yeah, man.
But listen, on behalf of the cocktail team, myself, and everyone watching, it was a pleasure to see you and have you again, man. And
very nice, and thank you very much for having me again. I'm loving this what you're trying to do, guys, and I really think you're doing a good thing.
Thank you,
and keep up the good work.
I'm sure we'll be seeing you soon in Portugal.
I really hope so. I hope so. The vaccines, I'm up for next month or something. So fingers crossed. soon,
listen, brother.
Okay.
Nice to see you. Man. All the best to you and the family, okay?
All the best. Take care, man.
Take care. Ciao. Bye, everyone. Adeus, legend. Ciao.
Marcou muita coisa, os formadores, os colegas, a forma de trabalhar.
A quantidade de informação que conseguiram passar praticamente num mês, ou menos de um mês.
Para quem ama e gosta de bar, dá para chegar a todos os pontos, desde de um destilado a um fermentado, conseguimos absorver uma quantidade enorme de conteúdo.
Todos eles percebiam mesmo das áreas que estavam aqui a falar, muitos deles percebiam muito mais áreas até, que facilitava muito. Falámos de muitas coisas e acabámos por falar de várias coisas numa aula que supostamente era sobre vodka, falámos de conhaques e de outras coisas, isso facilitava também bastante.
Adorei todos os formadores, Hugo Silva, Pedro Costa.
Gostei muito do Lapa, por exemplo.
Sabem aquilo que ensinam a gente.
Teachers are all excellent. In the world, excellent teacher in the Europe, to say.
Já recomendei bastante.
tanto através das redes sociais, como através de boca a boca, para amigos e de amigos para outros amigos, e recomendo a 100%.
Recomendaria. E já recomendei a muitos colegas meus também que têm uma paixão pela área.
A toda a gente que quer ingressar nesta área de bar e que não tenha conhecimentos, acho que este curso é uma mais-valia.